Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a conference ID followed by pound. If you're the meeting organizer, press star now. You're now joining the meeting. Please wait for... You're now joining the meeting.
Testing, testing, testing audio.
Sorry about that, Aaron. I was waiting on you. I didn't see you on the TV.
Good morning, Governor. Great to see you. Good morning, Secretary Aguilar as well.
Good morning, Attorney General. We can spread out a little bit. All right. All right, well, let's get started here. Welcome everybody to the public meeting of the State of Nevada Board of Examiners, and the date being January 10th, 23 at 10 a.m. And so let's call to order. Clerk, can you please take the roll?
Yes, sir. Governor Lombardo,
Here.
Secretary of State Aguilar,
Here.
Attorney General Ford.
Here.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 2, public comment. The first public comment period is limited to comments of items on the agenda. No action may be taken upon the matter raised until the public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an action item. And you have a 3-minute time limit. Do we have any public comment here in Carson City? Anybody registered? No? Anybody to the south? Attorney General?
No, sir.
Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to agenda item number 3, approval of the December 13, 2022 meeting minutes for possible action. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
And just for a matter of procedure, I won't seek a second on any items in the future. And that's within the law, right? Attorney General?
Yes, sir. You're fine with that.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the motion approves unanimously. Moving on to agenda item number 4, authorization to contract with a current and/or former state employee for possible action. Clerk, do we have any changes or deletions?
Yes, sir. There is a note that item 4B has been withdrawn. And then there are 5 requests under this agenda item. Would you like to hear them together or separately?
Together, if there's any questions of the board members?
No.
Any issue taking them together?
None here.
All right, clerk?
Okay, the first request is from the Department of Administration, Purchasing Division. This item requests authority to contract with a former employee to provide his expertise and knowledge as a project manager for the Department of Transportation, Nevada Shared Radio System Project. This individual will be employed by Knowledge Services from January 16th, 2023 through June 30th, 2025 on a full-time basis. The second request is from the Department of Transportation. The department requests authority to contract with the former employee currently employed with CA Group, Inc. to provide his expertise to perform construction and engineering services for the I-15 North Phase 3 project. This individual will be employed from January 2023 through January 2025 on a full-time basis. The third request is from the Department of Transportation. The department requests authority to contract with the former employee currently employed by CA Group, Inc. to perform construction engineering services, also for the I-15 North Phase 3 project from January 2023 through March 2025 on a full-time basis. The last request is from the Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Public and Behavioral Health. This item requests authority to contract with the former employee through a sub-award issued from the division to the CDCF to serve as a senior chronic disease epidemiologist from January 11th, 2023 through June 30th, 2023 on a full-time basis. Are there any questions on these items?
Thank you. Any questions for the board members?
None here. Move approval.
So we have a motion for approval. All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. So, and then the annotation on E, that's removed completely, not further into the agenda, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on to item number 5, a request for recommendation of approval for the interim finance committee for an allocation amount from the contingency account for possible action. Any changes or deletions?
Yes, sir, there is one, item 5A, that has been withdrawn.
Withdrawn.
So there are now 2 items under this agenda. Would you like to take these together or separately, sir?
Are we looking at 2 items? What other ones were removed?
The one that was removed was the Department of Education.
I have
Oh, there's 3.
3 items. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
I would like to
didn't
hear,
read them.
yeah, if we could go through individually. 'Cause I have a
Perfect,
couple questions.
perfect. Okay. The first item is from Department of Indigent Defense Services with a request for a positive recommendation to the Interim Finance Committee pursuant to NRS 353.268 for an allocation of $62,582 from the Interim Finance Committee contingency account to reimburse Elko and Humboldt counties costs associated with the maximum contribution amount for indigent defense-related costs. And I believe there is a member from the agency for any questions.
So I think it's procedural, the question.
Good morning, Governor.
Good
My
morning.
name is Marcy Reeve. I serve as the Deputy, or the Director of the Department of Indigent Defense Services.
Hi, Marcy. The question is, if you read the narrative, we have 2 counties included in one item. So I'm to understand under the item, the amounts individually are delineated? Is that correct? For each county?
Thank you, Governor. In each of the actions, they were split into 2 separate subparts because the state of Nevada is involved in a lawsuit with the ACLU. We've entered into a stipulated consent judgment where some rural counties are considered Davis counties because they're listed as part of that. So what we have been requested to do is group together the Davis counties as well as the non-Davis counties. So the first request in subsection B is for those non-Davis counties that are not part of the Davis stipulated consent judgment, but they do still fall under the maximum contribution formula, and they have outlaid additional funds in order to comply with the requirements that were set in place by that lawsuit.
So procedurally, clerk, there's no issue with including 2 counties on one item? No issue? Okay. That was the clarification I needed. And then if you would provide me the Davis County counties, so I know them. Do you know them?
If you would give me a second, Governor, I can read them off for you.
Sure.
So the Davis counties appear to have been counties that didn't have an organized public defender's office at the time. So there are 3 ways of providing indigent defense services across the state of Nevada. Counties with a population of more than 100,000 are required to have a county office of a public defender. Rural counties can also form such an office, but they're not required to, and they could opt into the Nevada State Public Defender. The third way that you could provide indigent defense services is to contract with individual attorneys to provide that representation. So at the time of the lawsuit, these counties are listed as the rural counties for those purposes, and they all chose to go with the third system of providing indigent defense service attorneys on a contract basis. So that's Churchill. They did not meet their maximum contribution this year. Douglas County, which we're requiring a request for reimbursement for. Esmeralda, which had not received their reached their maximum. Eureka, which did meet their maximum, but they didn't have any spending coming in after the fact. You see our request today because bills are allowed to come in 60 days after the case is closed. So this is kind of late billing from fiscal year 22. Lander County did not meet its maximum. Lincoln County did not. Lyon did. Mineral did. Nye County did. And White Pine did. So Douglas and White Pine had those late expenses come in, and we're asking for that reimbursement.
Okay, thank you. So since we're doing them separately, we need an action on each one of those. Can I have a motion on item number 5, section B?
Motion to approve 5B.
Hearing so, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. So item 5, section C.
Thank you, sir. The second item is also from the Department of Indigent Defense Services with a request for a positive recommendation to the Interim Finance Committee pursuant to NRS 353.268 for an allocation of $38,916 from the Interim Finance Committee contingency account to reimburse Douglas and White Pine counties costs associated with the maximum contribution amount for indigent defense-related costs.
All right, any questions from board members? All right, motion for approval.
Move approval.
All those in favor? All right,
Aye.
motion approves. Item number 5, section D.
Thank you, sir. This item is...
Thank you.
This item is from the Office of the Lieutenant Governor with a request for a positive recommendation to the Interim Finance Committee pursuant to NRS 353.268 for an allocation of $31,960 from the Interim Finance Committee contingency account for per diem and travel expenses when traveling in his official capacity of his position. Are there any questions on this item?
Just give me one moment. Any questions from any board members?
None here.
Just an interesting amount.
A lot of travel during session.
All right, do we have a motion for approval?
Move approval.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 6, approval for proposed leases for possible action.
There are 6 leases under agenda item number 6 for approval by the board. Lease number 4 is a retroactive extension of an existing lease. Are there any questions on these items?
Any questions from board members?
None here. Move approval.
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item number 6 passes. Moving on to item number 7, approval for proposed contracts.
There are 18 contracts under agenda item number 7 for approval by the board. Please note that contract number 6 has been withdrawn. Are there any questions on these items?
So number 6. So just for the record, could you please read what number 6 is?
Yes, sir. Let me get there, so sorry. Contract number 6 is for, it's a new contract to provide a grant management system for executive branch agencies with the Office of Federal Assistance.
Okay. Any questions from the board members on any of the items?
No, sir.
Aaron?
None here. Move approval.
I have a, before
Oh,
we
sorry.
have a motion, I have a question on number 7. So it'd be 7. And I notice it's a 10-month term. Do we get clarification on that?
We did not, sir. Is there someone from the Department of Education that's coming to answer your question?
Good morning, Megan Peterson for the Department of Education. Could you please restate the question?
So if you read through the description of the item, it shows a 10-month term versus a 12-month term. And I wanted clarification as to the reason why.
Megan Peterson, I'm going to defer this question to Peter Zetz, our director and who oversees that contract.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Peter Zutz for the record, Office of Assessment Data and Accountability Management, the Department of Education. The department is requesting this 10-month contract so that we stay in compliance with both state and federal law around the requirement to administer, score, and report a college and career readiness assessment for all grade 11 students in Nevada. Earlier in 2022, the department went out to RFP per state purchasing process. That RFP required the approval of the State Board of Education. That was denied. And so the department is currently working to go out to RFP again. And in the meantime, we're asking for this contract to be approved so that we stay compliant with both federal and state law. Thank you.
So this serves as an interim.
Peter, so it's correct, Governor.
And then so that's correct on September 30th as the expiration?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion?
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Moving on to agenda item number 8, approval of proposed master service agreements.
There are 4 master service agreements under agenda item number 8 for approval by the board today. Are there any questions on any of these items?
Bear with me. Any questions from board members?
None here.
Bear with me before we make a motion. So on item number 1, of item 8, number 1, we had an exponential increase in cost versus what was previously charged. Do we have an explanation for that?
There are members coming to answer your question too.
Good morning, Governor, members of the board. I'm Kevin Doty, Administrator for State Purchasing. And with me this morning, I happen to have the Administrator for EATS, who can probably explain this pretty well.
Yes, Governor. We use the master service agreement that
Can you identify yourself, please?
Yeah, yes, sir. For the record, Timothy Galuzzi, Enterprise IT Services Administrator and State CIO. The master service agreement that you see in front of you today for Converge 1 is used by all entities in the state have the ability to use this contract. The exponential growth in it is partly due to the ARPA-funded project to replace the core of the SilverNet infrastructure that was approved during IFC.
I didn't understand that.
Yes, sir. Once again, Timothy Galuzzi for the record. So during the, I believe it was the November Interim Finance Committee, Enterprise IT Services was awarded a significant ARPA grant to replace the core of the SilverNet infrastructure. We wanted to go for ARPA funding for this because we were trying to avoid a significant rate spike for general funded agencies going into the next biennium, and wanted to leverage this once in a lifetime opportunity for federal funding to replace this core infrastructure. The Converge 1 contract that you're seeing in this master service agreement has been competitively bid through state purchasing, and it is a vehicle that we've got a lot of experience using.
So it's a complete replacement?
Yes, Governor.
Okay, thank you. Any further question by any board members on item number 8?
Motion?
We have a motion on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So thank you, guys. Moving on to agenda item number 9, information item, clerk of the board on contracts.
There are 63 contracts over $10,000 and under the $100,000 threshold that were approved by the clerk of the board between November 18th, 2022 through December 19th, 2022. This item is informational. Are there any questions on any of these items?
Any questions by any board member?
None here.
So informational only, no action. Agenda item number 10, information item report, Department of Motor Vehicles Complete Streets Program.
There is one informational report under agenda item number 10 today from the Department of Motor Vehicles on the voluntary contributions collected by counties pursuant to NRS 482.480. known as the Complete Streets Program for the month of November for fiscal year 2023. Would you like me to go into details on this report?
How long are the details?
2 sentences.
There you go. Go through them.
In November, the department collected $31,178. Approximately 78% was from the Clark County, 16% from Washoe County, and 3% from both Carson City and Douglas County. After deducting 1% to administer the collection and distribution of contributions, the department distributed $30,866.22 for the month. Are there any other questions on this item?
None here.
None here.
Information only. Thank you. So moving on to item number 11, public comment. The public comment period for any matter that is within the jurisdiction of the public body, no action may be taken upon a matter raised under this public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an action item, and a limit of 3 minutes. Do we have any public comment to the north? Seeing none. Any to the south?
No, sir.
All right, that closes the public comment portion. So item 12, adjournment.
Motion.
We have a motion for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gov. See y'all.
So what's the issue with the charter?